and this is my channel where I talk about stuff. I'm Turkish, and I have a one-woman show called K90 where I talk about the weird sociological traditions or sociological adaptations of life that happened and probably still happens in Turkey. And sometimes I talk about my daily life. I live in England. I have a band and I have a play. Like this morning, I was doing a writing exercise and this is what it came. It's really some kind of a superstitious tradition that when I was growing up, we children used to do because the families or the adults believed in it. So we're talking about a demographic of a middle class, sort of educated, quite like educated, but they're not that upper class. But it doesn't really matter the class either, because it's the thinking, it's the traditional way of thinking. Anyway, it's really, you tell me what you think about. So I wrote that as an exercise. I want to share it with you. There once was this peculiar ritual correcting the way of how the shoe lay when you take it off. This is in Turkey, sets in the southern part of Turkey. The weather is hot, so we used to wear a lot of sandals and slippers. When you open a door, really hot wave would hit on your face. And it's super interesting. So when this kind of hot, like when you look at the places like Cuba and Brazil, their men and women relationships are a lot more modern. When you start to come across this way, it's not only about the Islam. So if you're just gonna put that aside, and there's something changes, and I don't know what it is that changes. So this shoe correcting thing, it's not just a child's game. It's put on to the children by the female counterparts of parents. And this includes the grandmas. So some orders are given to children with loud, angry, authoritative voices, explaining why you have to turn your shoe the right way around. The panic arises inside. And when you take it off your shoes with a lift, you have to check it and not forget to check it. For instance, if your shoe land on the floor, left shoe on the right position on the place and the right shoe on the left place, which is like a crisscross shoes, the future whole business life will be doomed. And you need to find a way to undo this. And imagine you are 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, because you're growing up with these rituals, traditions. And you're like, how many times have I been doomed so far? There's this little bank or an account or a cubus. You've already calculated a good gravity amount of times that you have been doomed. So the belief that you are going to have a good life is already dissolved thanks to the shoes. So sometimes, to make things even worse, the shoes don't only land crisscross, but they also land upside down. And my maths were really good then. So if the crisscross is dooming, upside down in the crisscross is a square doom. That's true. So that's the power of the shoe landing that can damage your entire destiny. with faster than the hot weather sweeping your face. As a child, you know this from the screams of women in the house, eating their cakes and drinking their Turkish coffee and tea. Ritual was, after in a rush you've taken off the shoe, you throw it because you're a child. As my boyfriend still throws his shoes in that way, takes them off. One day, I was wearing this almost slippers and sandals crossover rubber material, and it was pink. And I took them off in a woof, and they both flew in the air. They did this anti-gravity levitation for some time. Time was just slowing down. And I stared at those slipper sandal mix, those pink rubber thing hovering in the air, and I watched them, witnessed them land on their sideways on top of each other. And it's like this angel statue in Rio, but only one arm. I'm not, now what? And there's this fierce anxiety comes up, because that's a situation that I don't know if I can ever change. And it means that maybe forever my life is going to be in a crisscross, upside down, or a sideways position all the way through my life. And I froze. And also there was the other things. What would happen if there were other people's crisscross shoes? Coming and having a look at the place, I want to turn mine over and there are 10 other ones upside down or crisscross. Am I going to collect theirs because they didn't notice but I did? Does it mean that they're all doomed? Life is going to be on me? Do I have to carry that weight over me? When you were a child, these are the really interesting questions that passes through your mind. You don't know the answers and they puzzle you. And you feel like you can't really ask it because the only people you can ask is generally the female that's entertaining themselves in the daytime, drinking tea and coffee and gossiping. And they're shouting at you to correct these. This is true. This is totally true. If you ask anybody from Turkey or tell them, oh, your shoes are crisscross or upside down, oh, that's gonna bring you bad luck, they'll get it with an instant. You don't need to repeat it again. They'll get it and they'll be mortified. Let's carry on. So that's it really. That's what I wrote. Why am I sharing this? Well, I suppose this is kind of a belief that I don't believe it in that way, but I know I did at some point. At least it crossed my mind. And there was a definite percentage of my childhood that believed in it because everybody said so. When you don't know the world and somebody says like, don't touch the iron hot pan, and you touch it and you burn your hand. And for a moment, when you don't know the science of the world, the physics of the world, the thermodynamics of the world, you just think like, this is kind of a thing that you shouldn't do for whatever reason. It's the same thing with the shoe. You flip it, it spins, and your faith, your destiny is designed by you in that moment. So please follow to hear more of weird but true things that I lived.